Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Rich and this is Savage Supercars. Today's video is a little bit different. So as you know, my daily driver for my work, I have a proper job, not just YouTube, is a Ford Ranger. And unfortunately, just before Christmas, it was hit on a building site. Nothing too serious, nobody was hurt. In fact, I wasn't even in it, but it's gone in for repair. And then you have the challenge of what kind of hire car they're going to give you. I love having hire cars, but I hate having the arguments about, oh, we're going to give you this 850cc little Japanese box or this little French box or whatever, because the miles I do, it's not fit for purpose, it's not going to do the job. So every time I have to have a hire car for whatever reason, there's always a bit of a to and fro until I manage to get something of a reasonable quality that I can do the miles that I can do in. So today's video is about the hire car they've given me, my initial opinion, and first drive of the car. So I wanted to bring you guys along, see what you think, and what I'll probably do is, I've got this for about 2 to 3 weeks, so I'll go do a follow-up video at the end of the term to let you know my honest opinion. But yeah, let's just see what you guys think, my first opinion, and we'll go from there. So I hope you enjoy the video. Stay tuned. Hi guys, so as you can tell from the intro video there, Enterprise gave me a new shape Vauxhall Astra. Now this is the 1.2 turbo elite model. Yeah, I'm not a huge Vauxhall fan. I would like to point this out. Not for any specific reason. I've owned a few in the past. I had a couple of early 90s Cavalier SRIs. I had the 8-valve and the 16-valve. Both really good cars, great family cars, lots of fun. So it's not a Vauxhall, I hate Vauxhall because of X, Y, and Z. I'm just not a huge Vauxhall fan. With my money, I wouldn't go out and think about spending a lot of money on Vauxhall. It's just not a brand that excites. I suppose it's a little bit boring. It comes across a little bit of a boring brand, but I'm wrong, okay? And I'll admit that I'm wrong. I'm happy to admit I'm wrong. So I'm a huge petrol head, you know that. I wouldn't have started the channel if I wasn't. Lots of my friends will know how bad I am when it comes to cars. I'm a huge petrol head. And when I look back at Vauxhall back in the day, in the sort of early 90s and that kind of, well, the late 80s, early 90s really. So, you know, one of the first cars that I was appealed to was the old Astra, the box-shaped Astra GTE, which I think even now is probably one of the best looking hot hatches out there. I think it's just an unbelievable car. So, you know, that kind of stemmed my first passion for the hot hatch market and the whole industry, where it was going. And then you move forward to things like, you had the Lotus Carlton. Now, 90 to 92, Vauxhall had the fastest production four-door saloon in the world. You know, it was knocking on 400 brake horsepower. It was under 50 grand. It was about 48 grand when it was new. And this was like the ultimate four-door saloon. It was ridiculous. Nothing could touch it. So, and even now, if you can get a low mileage, well looked after Lotus Carlton, there's serious money now. And then also what happened was Vauxhall brought out the Senator GSI, which was a 3-litre 24-valve super saloon. Wasn't as fast as the Lotus Carlton, but it was a seriously fast car. And in fact, it was the chosen choice of the motorway police, because they wanted the Senator because it was untouchable on the motorway. It could catch Porsche 911s and that kind of thing as a police car. So they had this whole plethora of super fast saloon cars. As I said, my wife and I had 2 Cavalier SRIs. We had an 8-valve and a 16-valve. And they were both very, very good. If I'm honest with you, I think the rawness of the 8-valve was actually better than the 16-valve. We had the 16-valve first, then a couple of years later we bought the 8-valve. Lots of things happened in between with company cars and that kind of thing, so that's why we bought it. And I actually think the 8-valve, which I bought off my brother-in-law, by the way, I think the 8-valve had a natural rawness to it that the 16-valve didn't have, and I absolutely loved it. But then they kind of lost their way. They didn't really have any real exciting, I don't believe, really exciting supercars or sports cars. I think they missed a trick there. You've got the Monaro, which comes from the Australian Holden range, which is unbelievable, 6 odd litres of pure muscle car, which is amazing, but that's not day-to-day what people would buy, and that was quite a lot of money as well. You also had the VX220, which was kind of a Lotus Elise kind of convertible car, which I actually really like, actually, to be fair, the VX220, but it didn't really sell that well, and it didn't really hold its money that well, but a good car nonetheless. So I've not really picked, you know, when I could pick company cars in the past, I didn't pick an Insignia, although I liked the VX line, and I liked the VXR, but it was just, I don't know, the brand to me just seemed a little bit little old lady shopping, bingo, bowling kind of car, the Corsa or the Astra. Nothing exciting. So fast forward to this morning where I pick up this Astra 1.2 Turbo Elite. So it's about 145 brake, heated leather, it's very well spec'd, and it's not a bad shape, it's not a bad looking car, to be fair. I don't think it's a bad looking car at all. The first drive of it, I've got a funny feeling it's going to change my opinion. I love the interior. I think the interior is ergonomically a nice place to be. I've got a pet hate about steering wheels. I hate really cheap plasticky or badly set out steering wheels, you know, either too fussy or just feels a bit cheap and nasty. Some of the older cars had that, but this is lovely. This is really nice. It's a nice place to be. It's very, very comfortable. Now, I've only done sort of 30 miles so far since making this video, but I must admit, it's smooth. The gear change is very, very smooth, and the power delivery is very responsive. Pulling away, it's very good, it's very quick, and even though it's only a 1.2, because it's turbocharged, it's got some get up and go, it's got some oomph. I'm not going to lie, I'm pleasantly surprised. You could say that in this day and age there really isn't a bad car, but that's if you're somebody that doesn't care about cars and it's just a means of transport from A to B. You know, people like us that are true petrol heads like a car that is, you know, it ignites the soul, ignites the passion, exciting to drive. You think of an excuse to drive the car. Some of the cars that I've reviewed already on the channel, as you know, you think of an excuse just to get in that driver's seat and go because of how it makes you feel. I have to say, this Astra, for what it is, for what it's meant to be, it's not meant to be a supercar or a sports car or savage in any way, but I have to say, so far, I'm very, very pleasantly surprised. I expected to hate it. You know, I was like, no, it's a Vauxhall, I'm going to hate it, and I don't at all. As I say, I think it's very comfy. I've got my heated seat on. It's a nice, comfortable ride. I'm really impressed with the gear changes. I think the gearbox is very, very smooth, and the power delivery is very smooth as well. So far, now I've got this for 2 to 3 weeks. I've got a lot of miles to do in that time. So, you know, I'll have a much better idea of a review of it, and I think that's important. I think it's difficult to give a real, true review of a car when you've driven it for half an hour. I think you need to live with it day to day, you know, and be able to know, is it fit for purpose for what you do? Everybody does things differently with their cars. You know, last week I had to go to Hereford, so I did 445 miles in a day in that Ranger, and it was brilliant. You know, it never missed the beat. Visibility was great. Going up to Hereford was -5 with freezing fog, and the Ranger was fantastic. I never felt unsafe at any point. It was extremely comfortable. It was a great car. So for my purpose, it was perfect. Now, if you were just somebody that does a few miles every day to the shops or to whatever socially, the range is too big, it's too bulky, it's not what you want it to do. So horses for courses. This Astra is, I'm really surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm pleased. I'm always happy for somebody to be able to change my mind on something. Yeah, it's comfy, it's quiet, it is smooth. The steering's very light. I would say the steering is very, very light. I'm used to something a little bit heavier. The Ranger's got quite heavy steering, and this has got very light steering. So that took a few bits of adjustment from my point of view, because obviously it's not as heavy steering as the Ranger. It's a different type of car. But so far, so good. Yeah, I really like it. I think it's a very smooth, responsive car. Whether you can have a bit of fun with it, I don't know. Whether it's something that you can really have some, you know, it's not that kind of car, guys. It's not a Cayman GT4. It's not that kind of car. But as an alternative to some of the other mainstream hatchbacks, if you like, I'm pleasantly surprised. And what I like about this is that it has changed my opinion already, you know, and I've only been driving it for, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes, I suppose, something like that. So yeah, it's really, really different. So we're gonna have a little bit of we're gonna get into some open roads in a minute. So I'm gonna drop it down into second and open it up and see what the performance is like, so you can have a little bit of fun when the roads are available and it's safe to do so. So we're gonna see what happens here, but so far, so good. So don't judge a book by its cover. Be a little bit open-minded, because I'm shocked at this. I'm pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly surprised. That's the answer. I'm pleasantly surprised about how it feels. The road noise isn't bad. Obviously, I've got the radio off at the moment. With the radio on, the road noise isn't bad at all. There's plenty of room for my kids and shopping. There would be. So, you know, if I've got to live with this car for 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to use it as a family car. I'm going to use it for work, but I'm also going to use it as a family car. And at this moment in time, I can't fault it. I really, really can't. She feels good. Right, so I'm in third gear. I'm going to overtake this van. Bang. Yeah, up to 4,000 revs, and it was a smooth delivery, but it was quite responsive, I have to say. It wasn't sluggish or slow. There wasn't any, obviously, you don't get the turbo lag that I used to get in the 80s, so there isn't really any turbo lag to there. I'm going to go again now. I'm on a dual carriageway, guys. I'm not breaking the speed limit. I'm just pulling away, overtaking vehicles. Really responsive. Really responsive. Quite, I'll be honest, for a 1.2, very, very nippy. It's 145, I think, brake horsepower, Vauxhall say. Yeah, really, really good. Really pleased. So I've got a few, obviously we're in a national lockdown, but for my job I have some essential works to do, like going to Hereford last week was for the NHS. I've got a couple of NHS projects to go and look at next week, which are important. They're essential, so I will be doing that in this. So I'll see what it's like on some longer journeys, but at this moment in time, it's really good. It's really, really, really good. It's fast, it's responsive. I can't fault it. I cannot fault it at all, I must admit. Yeah, no, it does exactly what I want it to do, and it has a little bit of get up and go to it. It's quite fun. If I'm honest with you, I am pleased. Vauxhall, yeah, you've changed my mind. So how about getting back into that hot hatch, getting back into that market? Because you were good at it in the 80s and 90s. The Astra GTE and the GSIs and the, you know, moving on to the VXRs, they were good cars. So Vauxhall, if you're listening, you know, this is quite perky. This is all right. Let's have the next level. Let's get a 210 brake horsepower hot hatch. Let's just, you know, let's see what we can do with it. I know you've got the Corsa VXR that you had, and it's very popular with a certain type of youth, shall we say, at the moment in time, and I know you can do a fair bit with them. But let's get back into, you know, like the Insignia VXR, let's get back into doing some little hot hatch pocket rockets that you were so good at back in the day. And I think you'd open up another market. You know, the Corsa isn't just for the little old lady or the little old man who wants to go bowling once a week or whatever, and just go to Morrison's or whatever supermarket. This Astra's good. This Astra's really, yeah. First opinion's good, guys. So I'm quite pleased with this. It wasn't what I was expecting, wasn't what I wanted, but I think living with this for a few weeks, I'm going to have a really good idea of long-term what it's like to live with, and first impressions are very, very good. So guys, I know it's difficult times out there. Please stay safe. You know, don't go unless it's necessary. You know, look after each other. Just stay safe, and we will see you on the other side. Whenever this car's going back, I will do a follow-up review to let you know my honest opinion of what it's been like to live with for the last 2 weeks, and let you know honestly an honest opinion of what I think. But so far, I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised and really pleased with it. It's okay. It's all right. It's got quite a bit of pep, quite a bit of gap and go. I think I'm going to enjoy driving this for the next few weeks. So, guys, stay safe, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye, guys.